Hello everyone, this is Mukundan Raghavan, and in this video we are going to see the powerful library called Pydantic. By using this Pydantic, how to validate the different data structures. In very simple words, we are going to see how to define our data structure and how to validate when your input is changing and obviously the output also giving the different types of output. Basically, if you do the API response validation, in API response validation, you might get the different types of output. Maybe sometimes you need to validate the output in the specific range. Sometimes some fields will be totally optional. Even sometimes you will be getting the list of objects and the number of objects cannot be static. It could be dynamic. How to define all these constraints into the data structure when you validate the API response or any kind of data. Let's see how to use the Pydantic in this video. And this will be definitely a game changer for the QA automation. Let's jump into the Pydantic. Before starting, we will understand what is Pydantic. Pydantic is a general library where you will bring the schema and sanity to your data. For example, it will be mainly using for the data validation. Whenever you have some data structures you want to validate, so in those scenarios, you will be using the Pydantic. It will be very ideal for the QA automation testers and general developers to streamline the data validation process and enforce consistent data formats. Let's see what is the basic model of JSON output. Now here we have taken the JSON as the input. However, it is possible that your input can be coming from the API response. It can be from the CSV file. It can be from anywhere. However, we need to define the model. Here you can see we are defining the model as a user and we are having the inheritance from the base model, which is coming from the Pydantic. Then we are telling it could have name, age, email, scores, and metadata. And we are also defining what could be the data type. Name is string, age is integer, email itself is the format of email string, then scores coming as a list, and in that list, every value would be integer type. And metadata could be the dictionary, or in simple words, it could be the key and value, whereas key and value both are in the string type. Now here you can see the simple JSON data. It can be from your API response or it can be from your any kind of data output from the previous system. Now I am having this sample data where it actually matches all the definition that we have given. And here you can see I'm just loading the data since it's a string. I'm converting the string into the data by using the JSON.loads and giving the string variable. Now it is the data dictionary. While using this data dictionary, we will be just mentioning the double star to unpack the dictionary version into the model. Then we are calling the user, which is the class already we created as a model. When you have this execution of line, you will come to know whether it is a valid user or not. If it is a valid user, you will be getting passed. Or if it is not, then you will be getting the error. Let's execute this one and see the output. And here you can see this is the valid output and even it has the different values assigned to the keys. Now let's imagine I'm going to get some different input data which is not as per the model that we created. Let's say I'm getting the age as string value. Maybe due to different reason or maybe different input from the different system, we got this input. Let's validate this one. And here you can see value is not valid integer. Type should be the integer, but you are getting the different thing. And here it is also displaying which field it has the issue. So by this way, as a QA automation tester or any kind of validation user, you don't need to worry about the error messages and validation of each and every field. Once you define your model, you can simply check any kind of data, whether it is matching your the data model or not. Now let's get into the next level. Now, sometime it is not very simple like this. You will have just a data type with the field name. Sometime you might be having the different constraints, such as here you can see the name should be starting 3 to 50 characters. So minimum length is 3, maximum will be 15. Sorry, it is 15. Then after the code, it should be the string and it should be minimum 6 and maximum 6. So both are same. So that means that it is exactly 6. Then next one will be the price. So price should be integer. At the same time, it should be greater than 0. It is a non-negative number. Same way you can see the multiple things greater than 0 and age is optional. So you have the optional tag, and even if it is coming as optional, it should be in the integer type and it should be always greater than 18 and less than 100. And each manager is a boolean. Sometimes this field will be coming with true and false, but if does not have value, the default value will be the false. Then questions, it is a list of strings and minimum 1 item, maximum 100 items. And you might have seen these three dots ensure that these fields are not optional. For example, when you see the age, you don't have this one because it could be none. or it could be optional. See, now you can see the different combinations. Now you are getting the data, the same product data, and you are validating same like the previous time. Just enter, you will see the output. Let's imagine I am giving something more than 15 length of character. Yes, probably it will be more than 15. Just save it and try to run one more time. See, now you can see the error. To the point, it is telling name is this one, and it is telling actual error, validation error for the product. Ensure the value has at most 15 characters for the name. So for the name, we have mentioned maximum 15. Now let's change some other error also. Let's say I'm giving the price as -1 or -1000, let it be, and save it and try to execute again. Now again go to the error, price is the field, and ensure this value is greater than or equal to 0. So this way, even you don't need to mention the error messages and you don't need to debug which field has the error. It will be straight to the point and error message will be very obvious and very straightforward. So by this way, you might have the different possibilities or different permutation combination having the output. For example, the JSON data. Sometime it could be optional, without optional, with optional. Let's say we mention age is optional. So just remove this and try to execute. So still we have this minus, remove this. Now it is a valid, but it does not have the age. Now here you can see the output is going fine. So which means that you don't need to worry about the data which is coming inside. It could be a type of different thing with a different constraint, sometime optional, sometime within the limits, sometime even it could contain the regular expressions. So by getting into this field API, you will come to know how to mention the API as a regular expression or the constraint as a regular expression. So this way, you don't need to worry about how the data comes. You will be always having the validation. Now, the main question, why QA automation testers can use this library to the benefit? The first one is data validation, ensuring data adheres to the expected formats and constraints, because it will make sure for the reliable testing. With a simple code, you don't need to write multiple lines also. And schema definition. When you try to create the schema definition, you yourself will come to know what are the different possibilities the data can be coming. And error handling. It is a very interesting part. You don't need to do anything. Just a try catch block will help you to find the existing, the correct field and its error message. And data generation. This Pydantic can be used, or especially this data model can be used to generate the data for you. Sometimes you may want to generate the CSV file with the different fields. By this way, you will mention the data model. So when you give this data model to the faker, it will create the different combination, random combination, but still it adheres to the data schema that you mentioned. And obviously, since it's from Python, it also integrates with PyTest. So that if you want to get this into some framework called PyTest, it will be very easy. So these are the couple of reasons why we can use the Pydantic library for our data validation, especially in QA automation when you validate some API responses. But it is again not limited to the API responses. It could be for any kind of data inputs, such as a YAML file, such as a CSV file, or it can be of any type. So let's summarize what we have seen. So today we have seen what is Pydantic library, and we have seen the basic model with the JSON input, whether it is validating or not. And we have seen how to define the model with the basic things. Then we also seen with the constraints, the data model with constraint and the JSON input varying this with constraints. And we have seen the possible error messages. Finally, we have seen what are the benefits a QA automation testers can get by using the Pydantic library in the 5 major steps. And this is all about this video, and always be a rainbow in others' cloud.